If I said any chance, we'll take it. Ain't I said any rules, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true. Doing it our way. Nothing's gonna hold us back now. Straight ahead and on the track. Gonna make our dreams come true.
Good evening, folks. What is up? Is I, Ryan Wynn, your humble ink king, here with another inking demo. Adjust the desk a little bit. That little click you always hear before you see my page slide is the little pencil slider on my desk. It's super old school. I've been meaning to take it off for years and do something different with it, but I just haven't yet. So sorry if that made a loud click. So we didn't have a video yesterday due to technical difficulties, so I didn't get this stuff on film. But moving forward, onward and upward, we're here to do some cool energy lines today. So one of the happy accidents with this piece, it's kind of hard to see at this angle though. I got these swirling clouds going around her, and then it kind of had a tangent here kind of coming up to the edge of the hammer, and I wanted it to just be background, but then I was like, you know what, if I move this over a little, it'll actually be kind of cool, like the swirling smoke clouds are going into the hammer and then this burst of energy. So we're going to do the burst of energy. Maybe we'll do the hammer first. Let's see how quickly we can do this hammer, because it's got some cool lines and textures on it. But first, like always, we're going to do a quick warm-up. So we're going to get a little bit of water on the brush. I'm going to dip the brush in our ink about halfway to 2/3. Don't want to go past about there, and then we wipe on the edge of the jar to get a nice sharp tip. Now I use Rapidograph Universal Draw, or the Ultra Draw, I'm sorry, and I put it in my own jar. I have my own jar that I bought a bunch of empty jars and little ink jars. So I have the perfect, my own little perfect setup for me there. All right, just using some copy paper to do a warm up. These aren't really the lines we're going to be doing on the piece. I should probably warm up with some lines like that. We're going to be doing that hammer. It's going to have some nice meaty brush lines. This brush is really wet right now. So here I'm sort of using the, I'm holding the brush a little differently. You'll see I brought it back here on my hand, like that. And then that allows me to create these chisel lines. You'll see a lot of that stuff in superhero comics from the 90s. Jim Lee and Scott Williams do a lot of this stuff. It's pretty fun. I did a lot of it when I was doing inking Michael Broussard on the Darkness. So anyways, hammer lines are going to be bold like that. So it's always okay to like take what you're going to be inking and sort of goof around with it on a practice sheet. I see way too many young inkers only practicing on pieces. That's like only like if you wanted to play sports, like never going to practice, just showing up for the games and not warming up and not running drills or anything like that. So I'm going to be inking this hammer. I don't even have it in eye shot. Let me get it back in eye shot so I can see what we're going to be doing. So this is going to be mostly black. This should probably be mostly black, but maybe not as dark as that. And then we've got these cool Walt Simonson little render lines that we're going to do there. So it's got the energy burst coming out. And then we're going to load up on some ink. Let some of it go in this shadowy area. I like to just go in with the, almost like a marker. Like I said, the side of that brush, thick, heavy chisel lines there. Now we're going to take this, let's see, I'll flip this around because that's still a little bit wet. It's copy paper, but it's still a little bit wet. We don't want to be getting the glove wet with ink. Yeah, I'll probably do something like this so that the cube has, or the hammer sort of has 3 different values to it, sort of give it dimension. It's got the light here, the gray tone, and the black there. And then this will be the handle coming out, and her hand will be here. Things. All right, well, you know what? I think I'm ready to get right to the real deal. Let's hammer this out for Hammerella. Oh yeah, those of you that don't know, this is a new character. Her name is Hammerella. I don't know what I'm going to be doing with her yet, but people seem to like her. I've gotten a few commissions done with her already, and hopefully in the coming days, weeks, I'll figure out what I want to do. I think I want to do something like a story with her, but it's a series, excuse me, it's a series of splash pages. Because then every few days I could just work on a splash page. All right, so we're going to line up our shot. We want it from there. We're going to do a thin and a thick. And we're just going to continue along, sort of like a printer. So anyways, I think working on a series of splash pages would be really fun. I could do a bunch of dynamic things. It could be a battle, and it's narrated, all sorts of things. So that's probably what I'm going to lean towards doing. But that just depends on commissions and work coming in and stuff like that. All right, so we've got that side lined up. Let's see, this one's sort of short here. I'm going to hit that there. And then inside where the energy is, I just want to hint at the corner of the hammer. And that edge. I guess it's a little more than a hint, but I like that. There we go. All right, this stuff looks dry in here, so we can come across and do these bad boys. We can beef these up because this is going to be heavy black under here. And I don't know what this part of the hammer would be called. Oops, a little mess up there we went over. Oh well, that's what whiteout's for. All right, so just like on our practice one, I'm going to load up the brush with a little more ink than normal. We're going to go from here to here with it. That way we get a nice thick edge. Just bear down. And follow the square shape. And any little gaps that are left open, I don't know why I said it like that, left open, any other gaps that are left open, we can fill in with thinner gray lines after this part dries. But I do want it black going up against her hand. I want to create a little bit more contrast there. No, we can add a little more there. All right, you know, I might just leave it like that. But now we have to be mindful that that's wet. So what can we do around that? Let's whip some of these. Remember, I'm keeping my hand off that black area. That becomes a little more second nature the more you ink, but it's something you got to always be mindful of. The smart thing is to just, you know what? Look at that. I was gonna say the smart thing is to move on to do something else just to be safe. And then I was gonna do something. I was gonna do the dumb thing, but let's do the smart thing. Okay, so my brush, I'm gonna test it in this black area. It's not too wet. I want to start with some shorter lines on the energy, kind of build up my confidence on that. So even though light is emanating from here in the middle, something I learned from Joe Weems is to still give this stuff structure like it's almost like it's cut out of plastic. And I'm going to still kind of treat it like that, so that the light source from the image is coming from here, but treating these actual lines and shapes like the light source is coming from here. So it'll be thinner on this side and heavier on this side. Sounds kind of weird, but it'll look cool when it's done. Always trust Joe Weems. I'm going to go a little looser than Joe would do, but that's my style. I like to work a little quicker. And I mostly hit lines where my hand is comfortable at the moment. I don't force a line. I mean, my arm is pretty secure and rested on the desk. So I'm hitting like this. And you'll learn. The more you do, the more you practice, the more you play with the brush, you'll sort of learn your stroke patterns that you are comfortable with. You'll get used to how wet the brush is when it starts to get dry. All right, now I'm gonna let that dry for a second. And I'll wash off my brush a little. All right, we're coming in at just under 12 minutes. It's pretty good. We're not rushing anything, but we're getting a whole part of the piece done. And in the next video, we'll do the black swirly smoke in the background. And I think I'll have to pull the camera back a little bit to do that. So when I was young and working with Danny Mickey, I had a little bit of experience with brush, but no finesse and no practice. And I remember thinking when I was at home practicing, I was like, gosh, it's so much different than the nib because you can't really feel it. You have to see when it touches the paper. And then there's a little bit of muscle memory that comes into play with that. But for the most part, you really have to see what you're doing, where the nib, you can feel the nib so much. And I remember asking Danny, I was thinking like, oh, you know what? He's a master with the brush. More so now than back then. Back then he probably did like 50% of the stuff with brush. Now he's like 80, 90%, sometimes 100%, except for stuff that you have to rule out, like backgrounds. But anyways, I went to the old master and I said, is there a time, or how long does it take? I said, how long does it take until you can feel the brush on the paper the way you can a nib? And his answer was, never. You will never be able to feel that brush on the paper. There's no sense of pressure from it. And that's another reason it's different than digitally inking, is that there's this flowing sensation, and you cannot mimic this with digital. And I love digital inking now. I used to hate it, and now I think it's fun. All right, there we got her electricity or energy coming out of there. That'll be fun to animate, because I'm going to animate this in Procreate. Let's go and do some of these Walt Simonson rendering lines. And I apologize for saying that in such a low tone. Walt Simonson style rendering lines. And I hatch in the first pair, and then I turn the page about 30% or so, and then lay in the next set. And these, I'm not trying to be precise, as they sort of represent the bursts of light that are coming forth from the hammer. We'll do a little hatch one here, and we'll beef up, or do a beefy second pass there. There we go. And those dry pretty quick. That one, I can still see a little bit of wet there. I want to do the gray part here on the handle, but I gotta wait a sec. Blow on it a little. Patience, patience. All right, looks like that's dry. We can go in, and we're just gonna do some thin lines here. I gotta beef that one up. And there we go. Hammerella's hammer. It's got to have a name. I'm going to come up with a name for it. All right. So next time, like I said, we're going to do the black swirling smoke around her. I'll probably, off camera, I'll probably fill in her hair and probably, I'm debating if the inside of her cape should be black. I think it would help the figure pop and it would look cool. Have that black and this black. And then very little, like no black on the rest of the costume. Her costume's mostly yellow. So, all right, this was a little longer than planned, but if you stuck with it, thanks so much. I hope you learned something. And we're also going to be talking about cleaning up tools this week. So, stay tuned. And until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and take it easy. And if you haven't already, head over to alternaaccess.com and check out the book I wrote, Gods and Gears, with art by Dean Kotz and letters by Wes Loker. Issue 4 is out soon.
Stupid cat.